Hi, I'm Don Larson, and today I'll be talking about bow stroke, how to do it. I suggest that you practice this thing in front of a mirror. I used to comb my hair too much, so I had to give up the mirror, but it will really help you learning how to use your arm on the bow stroke. And the first part of this would be is your shoulder is going to go up and down, and keeping a right angle in your arm as you pull the bow. I mean, you're always ideally pulling the bow with your fingers, but so I would suggest this detached bow stroke of going, and feel this spring go up and down. And you'll notice that the space between your arm and your body will go a little bit up, a little bit down, up, down. If you keep your shoulder up all the time, you're going to be more likely to make a circle with the bow, because the arm itself will make a circle. And what we really want to do is make a straight bow arm. And that would involve going up a little bit and down a little bit. Not a lot. How much your shoulder goes up and down depends on so many things. How tall you are, how much end pin you use. If I have a lot of end pin, my cello's up here, then my arm goes down, up and down very little. If I have a shorter end pin, my elbow comes down more. And that space, the shoulder. So we're developing a spring in your shoulder. Up, down, a little bit. If you go too much, your hand falls back on the bow. Don't go that much. But feel that the spring goes away from you, especially on the A string, and you're not doing the circle thing back like that. Okay, and you could practice that by simply taking a string of the D string, say, and go up, down, up, down, up, down. And that'll help you rest weight on the first finger, which is where the weight should be. And then the next thing about your bow stroke, kind of important, is that your wrist can bend this much, and it can make a circle, and it can go up and down. It doesn't do a lot that way, but when I go out towards the tip of the bow, my wrist is going that way. And when I come this way, my wrist has got to be forward. So my wrist is constantly changing. So this is near the frog. This is the frog of the bow. My frog is near the string, and the wrist is forward, and my fingers are square here because of that. And when I go that way, my wrist is bent flexing to there. My fingers are square to the bow here. They're not doing this or that or something funny, but they're just staying square. I'm not dipping my wrist in or lifting it up. Just flat wrist, round fingers at the tip. And here, my wrist comes forward. So you can see that the wrist is constantly flexing from tip to the frog, from the frog to the tip and back. If you leave your wrist straight, your hand will fall back off the bow, and you'll be pushing the bow. If you push the bow, your shoulder ends up doing the work, and you really want to use your fingers to pull the bow all the way from here to here. And on the other direction, you want your wrist to come back so you can pull the bow. And why is the wrist important? If your wrist is behind if you're trying to go that way, and your wrist is back here, you have no choice but to push. You can't pull. So your wrist here comes forward a little bit, and your wrist here comes back a little bit. Forward, back. And what's the thumb, the most important part of that, is it's flexing like this. And so later there'll be exercises to learn how to do this motion. But as you do this stroke of doing, you can find that your wrist might come forward a little bit, and that's good. It'll come to, and you only do the lower half of the bow stroke here. Just say half the bow from here to here. That you feel that this bow grip stays the same, except your wrist comes forward. There, there, there. And my shoulder's going up. Shoulder come down a little bit. See the space get bigger and down. How much up and down? It varies from person to person. To go over one more time here, what we just covered is we're talking about the springs of the shoulder going up and down. and the spring of the wrist moving left and right, and being able to practice that by pulling a half bow from the frog to the middle of the bow, having your shoulder come up, dropping it down a little bit, going up and down. And Leonard Rose said about this that he never let a student go beyond this point until they could do this. Not necessarily true, but it's that important that you learn to not keep your shoulder up. And finally, we will be talking about in the next videos how to change the direction of the bow with your fingers. And also, I would like to mention that I would like you to remember to keep the 90-degree angle to each string. And so that on the A string it's out this way, and on the C string it's this way. And you can refer back to the first video about posture, about how we move with the cello. So depending on the passage that you're playing determines how you sit at the cello and what you're moving. And thank you very much for listening to this video. I appreciate it very much.